Howdy, howdy, howdy. Obviously, I'll let some people hop off in here. But yeah, it was a fairly wild Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, so that's how well my weekend status is going at this very moment. Oh, let me fix this light. We're back. All right, so state of basketball. It's really kind of hard to put a finger on it, right? I saw somebody in social media earlier that was asking if we need to start looking deeply into some of the deficiencies that maybe Mike Boynton has. And the answer to that is no, not yet, right? And what is very different between what's going on in football, Gundy's going to get another year or so simply because of everything that he's put in, right? He's put in the work, he deserves it, no question. I think Mike Boynton is in the same boat, but it's obviously for a different reason. Mike Gundy gets a pass because of his record. His record is phenomenal. Mike Boynton's record necessarily isn't the greatest of all time, but the way he handled last year, right? And for those that are going to watch and for those who are already live, appreciate you guys. Fire away in the section if you have anything to say. I will take all questions today, no big deal. But you know, he had nothing to do with that, right? And every single player on that team had absolutely nothing to do with what happened, which is a player was given $300. I'll say it again. We had a player, Jeffrey Carroll, who was given $300 under the table by one of our assistant coaches, Lamont Evans. And this is something that Lamont Evans had been doing for a long time. He even was doing it at South Carolina. Obviously, it was on the hush hush, so nobody really knew. And because Mike Boynton is from South Carolina, he thought that he had a pretty good beat on what kind of coach that Lamont Evans would be. Clearly didn't work out. And the millisecond that Mike Boynton found out that Jeffrey Carroll was given this $300, he made Jeffrey Carroll not only give it back, but they had to do a receipt for it. And here's where we screwed up. And this is the crazy part. We ratted ourselves out, right? It's so crazy growing up. I know the lighting's not the greatest. I'll fix that, right? We're fixing things gradually as we move along in here. But yeah, nobody was on that squad, and we had to do the receipt thing, and then we turned the receipts in. So we basically, we threw ourselves under the bus. Ironically enough, nowadays, and this is all over society, unfortunately, you cannot always be honest and trust the system, right? It used to be that if you ever got pulled over or whatever, just, be 100% legitimate with the popo and you'll be fine. Unfortunately, it's really sad these days that the people that end up doing the right thing, right, turning themselves in and trying to get ahead of it, those are the people that get punished the most. And then you have places like KU, who, because they're KU and they make national title runs and they did win a national title, they got not even a slap on the wrist. Bill Self had to suspend himself for 4 flipping games. Meanwhile, our entire roster couldn't even participate in the Big 12 tournament, let alone the NCAA tournament. What's up, brother man? We're back. Yeah, so DeAndre Jackson was going to be on the show today, and he messaged me a few times throughout the entirety of the weekend. Just we couldn't get it linked up right, but we're going to get it squared away there. So to make up for it, I wanted to go live. That end, whenever I do the show, I have to stick with the format of the show, which is like 7, 8, 9, 10-minute segments, and then we have to do the commercials, and we do. So basically, we're supposed to break it down in 3 different segments. And due to statistical analysis, we're supposed to try to keep it around the 30-minute mark. And with everything that we have going on, I knew there was no way in God's purple earth we were going to be able to cover everything in 1 hour. So we went live, right? To me, it just makes a whole lot more sense. And it's interactive. So instead of me just, going on these whatever diatribes of potentially unnecessary information, I get to interact with y'all, so I can answer y'all's questions and hammer anything that you want to hear. So whenever we get a few more people on, I'll go over some of the guests that we're going to be bringing on in the next couple weeks. So obviously we're going to continue with the current players thing. That's a theme that everybody seems to like. The videos are doing very, very well. Guys, so for you, especially you, brother man, knowledge is power. For the bunch that has been riding from the beginning, it's been cool. It's been fun. So I actually got a call from my manager the other day, right? And I think I'm allowed to put this out. I don't. Who knows? But it's just a conversation. Anyways, he told me that he sent an email to corporate, basically saying that this is potentially going to be the top college show within 12 months if we continue to progress as we are. So hats off to you guys, because if we didn't have the numbers soaring as they are, if we didn't have the followers and all that kind of matriculating in, then it wouldn't be what it is. Yeah, dude, we're growing very, very well, very well. Like, I don't know like what the standard is in this. I'm not very technologically advanced, right? So I don't know what's good. So all I have to do is compare it against the other college shows. And it is nice to say, I'll admit, that some of our numbers are better than a lot of college shows that have been doing it for a few years. And I think it's a testament to y'all. And the interaction is amazing. I was hoping we'd grow up fast, right? But I didn't know, right? And for those of you who don't know, when this whole thing started, right? I don't have a journalism degree. I don't have a broadcasting background. I don't have an announcer's background. So I knew that when they were trying to fill this position, I was going to have to do something a little bit out of the box. I wasn't going to be able to just send in a resume and say, hey, I've done this. I've called these games. I've worked for these places, whatever. So I just started making videos, man. I just started making videos about O State. And luckily, they liked what they saw, and they had some substance behind it, and things moved fairly quickly. And of course, right, the first thing you're told is take it slow, right? It's the long game, especially when you're dealing with some of the podcasting stuff. But I don't know. I thought that we were gonna be able to get this thing growing pretty quickly. And yeah, it's working very, very well. So yeah, the current players thing, it it's pretty awesome. So we're going to continue with that. We have a few players lined up. The previous players, right? Well, we're going to work that angle a little bit more as well. And then this next week or two, because of everything that's going on with the coaching changes and the recruiting, I'm going to have Mr. Marshall Levinson on. I know the O State Nation will appreciate that. That dude is a journalist, right? He does cover collegiate sports on a regular basis. So he's going to be able to give us a lot of the insights to what the rumors really mean. Because I can tell you, some of the rumors are 100% accurate. There's a couple of them that I haven't heard, but have been kind of going around. So I'm confused about a couple of the things that we've heard in regards to not only players that we're bringing in, but coaches as well. So we're going to bring him in. He's going to hammer home some of that. I've also got somebody. How do I say this? I've got a friend coming on, but he does like VIP stuff. So he gets full access to locker rooms, and he's going to break down kind of how he got into that and how that works for him. Because when I heard about it, I didn't know it was a thing. Like, I didn't know that you could do certain things to get backdoor access, basically. So I'm going to pick his brain a little bit more. I coached his son for like 7 years. So he's going to be a really fun guy to have on the show. And he can explain that little VIP access thing. And it's cool, man. He gets to go to practices, games, locker rooms, gets all the swag and gear. And I think it's going to be something for him that he can explain, especially in this NIL era, right? Every opportunity that we have as a fan base to get more interaction, it does nothing but benefit everybody, right? That's the thing. Okay, so yes, Cody's about to go on a mini rant. So if y'all caught my my OU, what do you call it? Not a burn, but roast. Thank you. The little roast thing. Like, it wasn't to piss anybody off. Like, let's be real. Like, I'm trying to grow the channel, right? So the more fans I have from different fan bases, it's a good thing. But at the same time, I'm going to speak out on crap when it's crap. And it doesn't matter if it's Tennessee University, South Carolina University. I don't give 13 hoots. If it's something that pertains directly to Oklahoma State and it needs to be corrected, I feel like that's 100% my job. Like, even if you come on and you're saying something that's outlandish, okay, I'll give you another example. What's up, brother man? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Loyal and true. That Bedlam wrestling match was flipping awesome. It's funny because, yes, I know wrestling, Jose, wrestling just kind of threw off my little mini rant. But yeah, I actually went downstairs. It was right after the Wyatt Sheets match. The Carter Young match, super close, didn't get it done. Wyatt Sheets, super close, lost in like the last 7 seconds. And I was literally writing up a piece, right? And as I'm writing this piece up, I'm talking about how if we're going to hold Gundy accountable, the same as we're going to hold Mike Boynton accountable, then we have to hold John Smith accountable. And last season was the worst, the absolute worst season in his entire career. Okay, so one bad season, you get a pass. And especially with the fact that you had all the Ferrari crap going on. AJ Ferrari and the Ferrari brothers were supposed to be a pipeline that was going to roll in continuously. So it was going to make us more than relevant in wrestling for a long time. So to be able to pull that off, like I went downstairs, right, did some stuff in the car, came back upstairs, and we were losing pretty bad when I went downstairs. So if you do the math, right, how wrestling works, near fall or just your regular standard scoring, it was going to be very difficult for us to come back, and we were going to need some big-time pins that were not expected. And that's exactly what happened. Luke Serber, very last match, right? He had to get a pin for us to win, right? Nothing else would have worked. Yes, it was. It was a phenomenal pin. And to be honest with you, there was a decent amount of Oklahoma State fans there. Like, that was fun, man. Yeah, it did. It looked like we controlled part of the arena. Get out. He was telling the dude to get out of his own arena. I didn't know that. I freaking love it. I flipping love it. And it's funny because, again, as I was writing that piece up, I was like, how many more years does John Smith have in him, right? You're going to give him a pass, of course, because he deserves it. He's earned it, just like Gundy, for one more season. And then we pull this off. And so, like, everything that I was writing, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Because Luke Serber saved the day. And Luke Serber, guys, we haven't lost to OU in 16 years. That's what I went to the car to complain about, was we were going to lose a Bedlam wrestling. And it's like, can this get worse if we lose a Bedlam wrestling match? And guys, OU fans pretend that they don't give 13 hoots about wrestling, and that's complete bull honky. They have 7 national titles in wrestling. They don't prop it up because they know it'll go tore down by us. Just like we don't necessarily prop up our 1945 national title, although I think we should. I do know that okay, hear me out. I was part of the contingency that also believed that it was kind of ridiculous for us to claim a title that wasn't really real, right? So for years, I thought the same as a lot of O State fans. It was borderline embarrassing. But then I did the research. And after I did the research, it's like, no, actually, we should be touting this 1945 national title to the moon and back, times 1,000, because it was all based on statistics. And what happened was Army didn't have the ability to ensure that their legitimacy should have been recognized. And so the AFCA, American Football Coaches Association, statistically decided that we win the national title, and we should have. It wasn't even close. Like a perfect example is the Heisman. I know a lot of you have heard me say this before, but we got screwed out of the Heisman more so than the national title. That's how this is, man. As soon as we think we're but okay, so as soon as we think we're down, we respond. That's fair. But it's concerning, to say the least, because what is the issue other than this last season? Oh, yeah, I'm going to get to that in a second. Knowledge is power. That was part of our mini rant I was about to start. So thank you for allowing me to go back to that. But as far as the wrestling stuff is concerned, he's still recruiting like phenomenal dudes. So we just got, like, was it a month ago, 3 weeks ago, the number one pound for pound wrestler in the United States of America to come in and replace AJ Ferrari. That's fine. But our difficulty has been scoring points, right? So Penn State, the reason they have so many national titles over the last decade is Cale Sanderson has taught every dude that comes through that locker room how to score bonus points, right? Near falls, tech falls, pins. We don't do that. We win a lot of matches very, very, very close, and it's so frustrating. But that's the thing that we need to, get to. We have to find a way to be better from bottom position and how to score more bonus points. That's the only way we're going to win another national title. We can go undefeated in the regular season, duels, it doesn't matter. And then we're not prepared for the national titles because we don't score enough points. So that is still an issue. It is still a concern. And this season so far has not gone very well. We weren't expecting it to be a massive season in wrestling. We weren't. But better than this, I think. But this is a fun win. This is a big win. This was a much, much needed win. Like I said, I could take the paper and I could toss it because the paper was about, okay, do we need to potentially think about who could replace John Smith someday, right? Because just like football, the biggest thing with Gundy is you got to give him more time because he's earned it and he deserved it. But you don't want to give him too much time because eventually we're going to fail to capitalize on the momentum that we've built up over the last 10 to 12 years. If we go back to a 6, 7, 8 win squad, it's going to take a long time to recover. So just like wrestling, we don't want John Smith to get too far away from this thing. I know Esposito is sitting waiting in the wings as a potential replacement, but he's on the staff right now, and we still have a problem with the bottom position. We still have a problem with bonus points. So I don't know if Zach Esposito is going to be the answer to follow John Smith. But anyways, got a massive pin. Luke Serber, hats off to you, sir. You were the king of the campus today. That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. Okay, yes, I will get back to that. So some of you obviously have seen a wide receiver. He put up his, was it top 10, top 12, top 11? It was something kind of random. It wasn't 10. I think it was top 11. I'm pretty sure it was top 11. So he puts out his top 11. And there's obviously there's like Utah and Boise State and I don't know, Michigan State, Arizona State. So a decent plethora of potential teams. But all I did was post something that's 100% factual and accurate. Guys, I've said this 97,000 times. I'll say it 97,000 times again. I'm not one of those dudes who just hop up and just turn on record to say shit. Like, I do a lot of research to make sure that I'm right. Because in my opinion, the best way to build what we're doing is credibility. Like if I give you information and I give you stats and then you go Google it and then what I said is right, guess what? I build credibility. Now you subscribe. Now you tell other people to subscribe. That's how we're growing this thing so crazy fast. So feel pretty safe that when I'm saying crap, it's because I've already done the daggone research on it. And when I put out there that there's only one other team on his top 11 that sends dudes to the league on a regular, and he's a wide receiver, was maybe Oregon. And then all these Pac-12 clowns want to start jumping in like, oh, you're wrong. And, oh, Utah's better. And then you're right, bro. It went on this long diatribe of Boise State And at first, like I played around with it, like, okay, cute. That's right. We're talking Boise State, Oklahoma State. They're so close to being the same, huh? And then this dude kept going. And then other people started jumping. Utah people started jumping in. And I appreciate, obviously, some of you who were in the Twitter space to see it, because like I wasn't an ass, but I was like, okay, what you're saying is absolutely ridiculous, right? Oklahoma State sends more wide receivers to the pros than anyone on that list, even Oregon. What I was saying was only Oregon is close. Boise State's not close, right? Yeah, they sent Titus Young back when they were good, what, a decade ago? They've been irrelevant for 9, 8 flipping fracking years. And these dudes want to get on here and say that Oklahoma State and Boise State are the same thing. So the kids should go to flipping Boise. Okay, yeah, sure. If you don't have a desire to go to the NFL, then yes, there's like 1,000 great options. But let's be real. Like, I'm not, how many teams send more dudes to the NFL than no state? Alabama recently, but not for a long time, right? Alabama just started sending dudes to the NFL wide receiver here recently. So, when we were having the kind of Justin Blackman breakthrough era, you could go back to Des Bryant if you wanted to. But again, I'm just talking about dudes go to the NFL, right? Dylan Stoner, he's in the NFL. Marcel Aitman, he had a pretty good run, and he's still kind of flirting around. Well, even the CFL, Adarius Bowman broke a bunch of records, y'all. Adarius Bowman was a certified dude in the CFL. He could have come back to the NFL, but they were paying him good money, and he was one of the top receivers in all of the CFL. So it worked out. So, yeah, you've got Rashawn Woods, who, again, was like a second-round pick, early second-round pick with the 49ers, and he tore his hamstring up. Not only tore his hamstring, but I had to have like reconstructive hamstring surgery. How the flip that happens, I don't know. But I do know that it was so catastrophic that he couldn't play anymore. Okay, so you got Rashawn Woods, then you got Des Bryant, then you got Adarius Bowman, you got Tylan Wallace, James Washington, Tyron Johnson, Dylan Stoner, Marcella Aitman, Chris Lacey, Tyreek Hill. It's like, just, if you're not going to research before you type, then why are we doing this? Okay, that's fine. That's where I come in. And I don't feel like I'm being conceited or cocky by any stretch. It's research. If you do hours of research, you will find what you're looking for. Case in point, we had a transfer, a mid-year transfer. Dante Buckner. And he's number 22 on the roster. He's with Oklahoma State now. He's been there for a while, but he didn't show up on the roster due to like the recruiting type of constraints. So they mathematically had to squeeze him in this way. And nobody could find a lot on him. So people were asking in spaces and sending me messages if I knew a lot about the dude. I really didn't. Honestly, I didn't know. And then I got some digging. And turns out a dude's pretty daggone good. Like, I don't know that we need to go to the transfer portal for a running back. Like, I know we don't need to, actually, right? So he's not super fast, right? But his cutting ability is next level. Like, it is mind-blowing. And the level of competition actually wasn't bad. That was the first thing I looked at. Like, okay, is he playing against like, glorified 8-man or something? Because they couldn't tackle him. Right, go watch Dante Buckner's film. You can find it. You got to do a little digging, but there's some film out there. And his cutback ability is better than, okay, maybe not better, but on the Justice Hill level. My comp was, if you took Justice Hill and you took Jeremy Smith and you made a baby, you got this dude. And I do know that obviously we're potentially looking at somebody else to fill that loss of C.J. Brown. I know that C.J. Brown and Tyrone Weber have, I guess, capabilities to get back on the team, but it's not super, super likely. Tyrone Weber's a little bit different. It wasn't going right, and he basically removed himself from the team to go take care of some stuff. So both of those gentlemen have, I guess, the opportunity to come back, but it's not looking super, super likely. But I don't think we need to, because if you look at this Dante Buckner kid, his cutback ability is phenomenal. He is a phenomenal find. Like, I don't know how Arkansas let this kid go. I really don't, especially as a mid-year transfer. I don't know if something just didn't work out right there. I don't give 13 craps because he's gonna fill in just fine. And the speed thing. So as you already know, we're having DeAndre Jackson on the show. He was supposed to be on the show today. He had some technical difficulties come up. No big deal. So we're going live instead. But same breath as DeAndre Jackson. When I watched DeAndre Jackson high school film, this was he was a 3-star because his 40 time. That's it. He had offers, not getting recruited by, but legitimate certified offers from Alabama, Auburn, A&M, Florida, Tennessee. Like he could have, they wanted him to be a king of SEC country. And he went to A&M before they were handing out bags of cash. So it wasn't for that. And then he got a few carries, right? It didn't work out. Comes to Stillwater. He has the transcript issue, which is going to be the first primary question I ask him when he's on the show is what happened, right? Because obviously Gundy was even frustrated. And I heard, so the two guys I heard the most about in the fall camp was Tyron Weber and DeAndre Jackson, right? Those are the two names, especially from like Robert Allen, that were very, very surprising coming into the season. So he was going to be an integral part of the depth chart. And then he has all this crap fest come together with Texas A&M and the NCAA. And y'all already know that the NCAA does obviously have a little bit of an axe to grind with Oklahoma State, because as soon as our suspension was over and people all across the country, fans and ESPN dudes, Doug Gottlieb, right? All of these dudes on national punditries are ripping the NCAA because, again, there's not a single daggone player on our roster that had anything to do with that. Nothing. So the kids got stripped last season. Yes, I did go on another mini rant. I apologize. We'll get back to the Boise State guy. So again, we go up the list of wide receivers. And every day for like 3 or 4 days now, y'all, I'm waking up to messages from these people talking about how Boise flippin' State is as productive as Oklahoma State. And Boise State sends more dudes to the NFL than Oklahoma State. Like, I asked the dude point blank, are you hammered, white girl wasted right now? You should not get hammered, white girl wasted, and then run your finger muscles. It's not a smart idea, because the funnest part about this job is everything I do is what? Ta-da, it's right here. I'm in front of camera. I'm on a microphone. Everything I do is very easily findable. And all I did was correct people. Like, okay, let's just stop saying crazy crap. What quarterback would you love to have in the transfer portal? If I had to, because I'm a little different. I believe that Garrett Rangel, if Garrett Rangel can put on 12 to 15 pounds in the offseason, he's a dude. His film says so. Even the limited amount of film we've got from this season, he makes throws that Spencer Sanders, it took a couple years to get to already. Right now, Garrett Rangel does. He has NFL sideline to sideline throwing capabilities. His problem was he's little. You can't be that skinny. Yeah, Rangel's gonna be fine. Okay, but if I had to cherry pick, Devin Leary at NC State runs not a comparable system, but the route concepts are very similar to what we do. And they've adapted a little bit more, and it's not quite air raid. The air raid's kind of going away. And speaking of air raid, everybody on here, and send this out to your people if you didn't hear. Word is that Mike Leach had a pretty massive heart attack. So send your prayers to that guy, because that sucks. Mike Leach is like the funnest interview in all of college football. He's done a lot for the game too. But yeah, so that Mike Leach, Hal Mummy, air raid style is kind of going away, but you are seeing more adaptations. And it's funny that a lot of places are taking their adaptations from where? From us, right? People are taking what Oklahoma State's offense was a few years ago mixing it with a little bit of what Dana did a while back, And so because of that, I think Devin Leary would be the easiest to slide right in. You know what I mean? He has the maturity, he has the understanding of the differentiation in defenses and what to look for, whether it be a cover one. You look at some of Devin Leary's film, one thing he's really good at. So if somebody's in a cover one, typically they're trying to have like a robber, which is so that's safety. He'll flip his hips towards the sideline, towards the numbers, like the X or Z receiver, and that tells the quarterback what kind of coverage it is, right? And if you're breaking over top, it could be a different coverage. Well, in cover one robber, he flips his hips, puts his entire chest towards the sideline to get the quarterback to commit over here. And then he flips his hips, comes back in for the pick. Devin Leary is really good about looking dudes off. Better than Spencer, better than Rangel. So if I had to pick, I would definitely get Devin Leary at NC State because I feel like he would be somebody that would immediately slide in, and the route concepts and everything are going to be fairly common for him, so it's not going to be an issue. So yeah, the Boise State thing, it just keeps going. People just keep chiming in, and every time somebody says something crazy, like, well, okay. What am I supposed to do? If this is what I do for a living and I study this stuff every day, and then people say crazy crap that's miles and light years away from being true about Oklahoma State, what are we supposed to do? Just be like, oh, shit, I'm so sorry. My bad. I didn't mean to offend Boise State. No, hell no. I'm not doing that. No way. I'm going to say it like it is. And that is a fact. It is not the Titus Young days. I'm sorry. Sorry, Boise State. If you could go in a time machine and you could reverse time, then yes, there was a point that you did send dudes to the NFL. You did send wide receivers to the NFL. And then it died. It died when Chris Peterson left. When Chris Peterson left Boise State for what? A big boy job. Holy cow. Look at that. He goes to take a legit job because he did a lot at Boise State, and then you guys became average in the group of 5. Yes. If you're average in the group of 5, this is not a conversation. Yeah, exactly. 15 years ago. So, I mean, I have fun with it because it just blows my ever-loving mind. It blows my ever-loving mind. So, yeah, that's the BYU stuff Boise State stuff that's still going on. Yeah, Leary's got to be first choice. Leary would definitely be my first choice. And it's not just because he's necessarily the best available. I think it's more of a system fit, right? It's not like he's coming from Wisconsin. So Graham Mertz, wherever he goes, I think Graham Mertz can still be successful. Like, again, if you're looking at throws, like the throws that Garrett Rangel can make, it's pretty comparable. But I just I don't see a need to go that route. Because if we can trust Rob Glass to put some weight on Garrett Rangel, we're fine. And again, with the news that'll be coming out about the coaching changes, I don't think whether we keep Tim Rattay or not, because of what we've most likely got coming in, I don't see Zane Flores changing his mind, right? That seems to be something people are slightly concerned about. He has a good relationship with Tim Rattay. So if Rattay goes, we could lose Zane Flores. I disagree because why do big time players pick schools? It's to win. It's to play for jewelry. Everybody wants rings on their fingers. That's what it's about. So, he wouldn't be coming here just because of one quarterback coach, especially a quarterback coach, let's be honest, that has not developed Spencer Sanders one iota in 4.5 years. So, and I actually, I know some people that have commented or sent me messages basically talking about how if you go to these 7-on-7 camps, some of these lineman camps and things of that nature, you hear rumblings, and I've heard that Tim Rattay goes to these events and like jokingly talks about how he can't coach quarterbacks over 6 foot tall. So I can tell you, Tim Rattay does not have a glowing review, especially in the state of Texas, when it comes to quarterback evaluation. It just is what it is. So for those of us that are slightly concerned that if we lose Rattay, we lose Zane Flores, I don't see that. If we don't have the hires that we think we're going to have coming in, then possibly, right? If we're going to keep Dunn, keep Dickey, keep McIndoe, and then maybe lose Rattay, I could completely see maybe Zane bouncing. But because of, like, okay, let's just say it like it is. If it's a Marcus Arroyo coming in with TJ Woods, well, who wouldn't want to do that, right? Marcus Arroyo did not want to leave Oklahoma State. Marcus Arroyo, he tried to work something out before he went and took the OC offensive coordinator job at Oregon. He really tried to work something out with Gundy. Problem is, he wanted coordinator money to just be a position coach. He was worth the money, yeah, but Gundy just didn't see it as a necessity to pay that amount of money when he had somebody like a Dunn kind of waiting in the wings. So I get it. Rangel redshirt, having Flores also redshirted and getting Leary would actually help. It would be a really good option. Like that's what I'm saying though. If we're gonna go get a transfer quarterback, let's go get one that immediately provides something. I don't see a point in getting a guy like no disrespect to Hudson Card, but Hudson Card is not light years above Garrett Rangel. Even high school. Like if you go back and look at some of the high school stats and film and Elite 11 stuff, Garrett Rangel is pretty on par with Hudson Card. So I think Hudson Card is rated as the third or fourth. I think he's fourth. He's the fourth biggest quarterback get in the transfer market right now. And to me, it's unnecessary. And for the kid, right? What if he comes and he gets beat out by Garrett Rangel? Well, that he just kind of wasted his time in coming, right? So I can't wait. Yeah, Arroyo. If Marcus Arroyo comes, we're going to be fine. Because not only does he have the ability to be far more creative offensively, he comes with enough clout and respect that he is somebody that would override Gundy in the fourth quarter. I think. I mean, actually, I would bet money. I would bet money that Marcus Arroyo is one of the few people that we could bring in that Gundy would just kind of hands off, let him do his thing. And since we're kind of, I don't know, dealing with some issues on the O-line, bringing in TJ Woods would be absolutely massive. Okay, so the Cale Gundy thing. Yeah, I had the ability to help break the Arroyo information, but I did not break the Cale Gundy stuff. That was somebody else. Don't know exactly where that came from. Other than maybe the obvious. Like, I personally have not heard anything yet about Cale joining staff at all. The only thing I've seen is on social media. So I think I'm going to stick with my gut. It would be nice, honestly, from a recruiting perspective and then maybe even a quarterback development perspective. Who other than Cale Gundy has sent 3, 4 potential Heismans or definitely 1A Heisman dudes to the league? Like nobody has the track record in coaching right now that Cale Gundy has. So it would be a good addition, whether it's analysts, recruiting, coaching, doesn't matter. He would be a benefit to Oklahoma State. And Mike Gundy knows that. But I don't think, like we'd already discussed, due to the OAN crap and the negative stigma, because you know it would happen. Regardless of if it's not substantiated in any capacity, if Cale Gundy was brought in, it would hit the headlines immediately. Oklahoma State coaches are racist. Mike Gundy is racist, and he hires another racist, and the Gundy family is racist because one of them read a rap song out loud, and one of them wore a T-shirt that was scary. So, is it stupid? Yeah, it is. But is it real? Unfortunately, yes, it is. So I don't see Cale having the opportunity to get on the staff. If Mike Gundy never wears a flipping news network T-shirt to go fishing or hunting or whatever, then yes, we hire Cale easily, no questions asked, and we pay him what he wants to be paid. But because of how he got let go or resigned, mixed with Gundy's T-shirt, I think it would just be too much of a negative um, light shed on O State, which would hurt recruiting, right? Instantaneously, it would hurt recruiting. Obviously, in the long game, people would slowly forget, and Cale would go back to being able to recruit like Cale Gundy can recruit. But until then, you don't know. Do I have a record prediction for football next year? Yes. Actually, no. But okay, let's think this out. Schedule next year, pretty comparable, right? As far as strength of schedule, difficulty in the non-con, it's pretty comparable. Get to play Arizona State again, right? So our non-con should be fairly simplistic, right? So we should be 3-0 there. And regardless of how the season shakes out, let's put this in perspective. If we have all these dudes returning that we think are coming back, Jason Taylor second, bada boom, bada bing, bada bang, back. Dino Daniels running it back. Ollie Gordon running it back. I think Ben Kapinski could be somebody that would potentially come back. Same with Sam Tuialamaka. He's got an extra year. He could potentially come back. And then you have players that are in the development side of things that end up playing a lot, like Lyric Rawls and Cam Smith. Trey Rucker is a human torpedo who had to miss the entirety of the season, who just started practicing again like a month ago. So he's going to play in the bowl game. And he's a bad mamma jamma, guys. I was so excited. I legitimately thought that he would play a lot more, and he would have, right? If Trey Rucker doesn't get hurt, this is no disrespect to Sean Michael Flanagan, all right? He's a good veteran, good leader, knows what he's doing. But if Trey Rucker doesn't get hurt, then Sean Michael Flanagan doesn't even play. I mean, he plays some. I'll say that may have been an overstatement, but he does not play near as much. Trey Rucker is that good. So not only do you have all of that to take into consideration, we've only lost two O linemen. That was our Achilles heel. But again, from a numbers perspective, if we only lost two O linemen and we can get a few more in the transfer portal, plus some of the high school kids we got coming in, that's a good way to kind of put a Band-Aid on the wound, right? So as long as we don't have a mass exodus of O-linemen like we did last year, which is even more reason to be excited about the Arroyo and TJ Woods potential news. If all of these dudes bounced last year because of Dickey, 12 dudes left the program at one position because of one coach, you think you would see that. You'd see it again, but you're not, right? You have one backup that's leaving and one that's basically graduating. So if we get 95% of our O-line back and we get a few more dudes in the portal to shore that area up, plus you bring in somebody like a TJ Woods, who guys, if you want to get pumped up about Arroyo and TJ Woods, go watch UNLV this last season. When Marcus Arroyo took over UNLV, they'd won one game the year before, or two max. His first year, they win 2 games. Second year is pretty similar. And this year they win 5 games, and due to the way the numbers worked out, and by default, their team still statistically had the potential to play in a bowl game, right? You get a couple 5-7 teams in the bowl games because of the way the stats kind of break it down. UNLV is possibly going to be one of those. So UNLV hired a coach to get him to a bowl game, and he gets him good enough to go to a bowl game, and they fire him. But their problem at UNLV was defense, right? Their problem was 100% defense. Their O-line and their offense and their tight ends were very, very, very beneficial to their program. All right, we got some rolling in here now. We'll get some O-line and things change. Yeah, exactly. So do you think Jelani McDonald out of Waco will end up committing? He liked my tweet. Okay. I'm actually really glad you said that. This might not be a super popular take, but I'm either here nor there on Jelani McDonald. Not because of his film is insane. He would be a massive asset, 100%. But But the flip-floppy thing bothers me. Not only with us, he did it to Texas too. Not that I give 13 craps about what people do to Texas or what happens to Texas. I don't give a hoot. But he did the same thing to them. You know, he was kind of trolling and talking about big news and wearing Texas stuff, and he's about to announce stuff, and then he moves on, and he flirted around with Ole Miss, and he just seems like a kid that loves the attention. It is what it is. Now, could he work out well? Yeah, he could. Could he be a huge asset? 100%. But I don't think that we should invest a crap ton of time trying to get Jelani McDonald committed again, because he's already burned us once, and he's out burning other places like it's fun. So it almost just seems like he's searching for a little bit of drama, and that could be unnecessary. Do you think we could? Oh yeah, no, yeah. I'm so sorry, I got sidetracked. Absolutely, we get 9 wins, 100%. Like the expected. Okay, I've said this before. Next season, or play in the Big 12 title game. I guess we don't necessarily have to win it, although it would be infuriating. But if we don't win at least 11 games or make it to the title, like K-State made it to the title game this year with 2 conference losses, 3 losses overall. If that happens and we pull a K-State, then whatever. Give Gundy his little 5-year rolling lifetime contract. I don't give a crap. But at Oklahoma State University, we have spent 18 years building this thing up. And guys, this is why him and Boone Pickens did not like each other. And this is why Holder had a hard time going back and forth between Boone and Gundy, was because Boone was like, guys, we're paying this dude legit Big 12 big boy money, right? We're investing in the program. We've invested in recruiting. We do the helicopter, private flights, all that crap now like everybody else in big boy football. And we're really good every year. But why can we never punch through that ceiling? And the answer is Gundy, right? He's a product of his own demise. His willingness to reward guys for sticking it out for 3-4 years is amazing. It makes your son want to go play there. But at the same time, like, he's not always the best about managing the game and the clock in the fourth quarter or putting the right people in positions. 10 wins, 11 wins for me, or a Big 12 title appearance, or we have to have the conversation about Gundy being on not the hot seat, but the damn thing needs to be physically burning on fire, because eventually we're gonna lose this momentum, right? There will be a day that if we have another 7-win season next year, we're getting there. Oklahoma State, the brand, is getting there, right? It's been getting there, but we got to stop hitting our head on the ceiling, or we're going to get stuck. And what happens when teams get stuck and they wait too long? They always go backwards. It's 99.9% inevitable. And that's what I want to avoid. So, yes, the answer to your question is we damn sure better win 9 games next year. That anything less than 11 should be something that we're not okay with, right? The years of being cool, 7-8 seasons, they've got to stop. And it's not a jab. I'm not jabbing at anybody. I know there's some part of the fan base that think when I say stuff like that, I'm taking jabs. I'm not. It's real. If we keep saying that's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, eventually it's not going to be okay. And then we're going to be like, oh shit, now we got to step up in the hiring department. And then we got to rebuild, like a complete rebuild. And to me, we're not big enough for that. Ohio State, they can handle a complete rebuild. We cannot. Michigan, they went through it. Okay, we're not Michigan, right? We are 10 times better than people give us credit for, yeah. But our expectations don't always rise, and they need to. Like, and somebody just tell me, if we're cool, like if we're supposed to be okay as a fan base with constantly just being cool with 8 to 10 wins, let me know. Let me know. And then this show will change dramatically, because if that's what we're aiming for, what's the point? If we're just aiming to be good and always good, then we're going to run out of things to talk about. We all want to talk about, guys, we'd rather have a conversation about how we got our head kicked in the national championship game than 75,000 conversations about, geez, we're this close. We're this close. Like, eventually it's got to get frustrating, right? Okay. And so if this part of the fan base, the mindset, if we can grow this, it's the same, but the opposite in basketball. So let's kind of talk about some basketball stuff. I've seen some stuff about Boynton, and I've already kind of covered a little bit because of how he handled last year. Amazing, right? He was the dude that you absolutely wanted your kids to play for. The way that he handled last season was a complete screw job. He did it very well. And this year, people are ready to jump off the bridge, but why? Okay, guys, we've lost 4 games, and 3 of the 4 games we lost within the last 90 seconds. And 2 of those were against like top 5, top 10 level teams. So we are knocking on the door in basketball with top 5, top 10 teams over and over again. We just got to break the door, right? And it's pretty comparable, a good segue to the Gundy stuff. Yes, State has to be in the Big 12 or the playoff race once we get to 12 teams. Yeah, okay, yes. But again, in my opinion, that shouldn't necessarily be the objective. The objective should be a trophy. And that's the thing with Gundy. And we get our fingertips to the top of the mountain, and then we slide down. And we get our fingertips back up to the top, and then we slide back down. We have to get on top of the daggone thing eventually, or our recruiting classes aren't even going to look like number 32. We should have taken the Clemson route, but got stuck in neutral, asking for progression instead of accepting me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. They did. They kind of forced Dabo Swinney's hand on changing his tune a little bit about the transfer market and NIL era. You're 100% right. And Gundy has too. Gundy's accepted that part of it, I think. Gundy's issue is what it's always been, and that's the stubbornness, to not be willing to be more aggressive, which is crazy. Guys, if you look back, like when I had Tatum Bell on the show, for that week, the prep, all I did was watch 2001, 2002, 2003 stuff. And Gundy was the daggone offensive coordinator back then. And we were doing wild stuff. He was calling crazy plays, like out of the box, wild plays. You know, and we were doing fake field goals and fake punts and fake this and fake that. Like, everything was aggressive. We made up for some lack of depth. Okay. We had some talent, but we didn't have depth. We just got depth on campus last year. Last year's the first time we've legit been able to say that 2 deep is not that big of a drop. It took Gundy 17 years to do that, which that's fine. But the point is, he's done it. The point is, we're the deepest we've ever been. The point is, we have the most talent we've ever had, and we're not capitalizing. So, yeah, next season, anything less than 11 wins, it should not be tolerated. I mean, I honestly, I try to walk that fine line of, you know, not I don't know, alienating somebody or pissing somebody off, but at the same time, they pay me to be me. And right, like when I say stuff, it's not just for shoots and giggles. Do you think Ollie has the potential to be better than Chuba? Yes, but a little bit different. So, okay, Chuba's in the same breath as like he's a bigger version of a Kennel Hunter or a Dontrell Savage. Ollie is like a more talented Keith Toston or Jeremy Smith or Dominic Richardson. I mean, let's call a spade. So I do think Ollie has the potential to be as good as Chuba, but their styles are a little bit different. So That's actually a super, super good. Okay, I like that. See, this is why I love doing this. This is why I love the live stuff. Um, if you look at Ollie to Chris Carson, my guy, my guy. So I was legit. Damn, man, you stole my thunder. Yes, Ollie Gordon is a Chris Carson. That is a very good comp. Yeah, yeah. But the irony though is, so we now have one scat back, one because CJ Brown, he's gone. So our only scat back is Jaden Nixon. Ollie Gordon's a power dude. DeAndre Jackson's a power dude. Even though DeAndre Jackson has gotten faster, I was saying a little bit earlier, if you look at his high school film compared to now, he's gotten quite a bit quicker at Oklahoma State than he was at A&M. So, he's a power guy at heart, but he has a little bit more speed and elusiveness than I think we realize. But yeah, Ollie's a Chris Carson. The difference is Chris Carson didn't get very many carries because, okay, without looking it up, so somebody needs to type fast. Who did Chris Carson have to be the backup to? Chris Carson was not a starter at Oklahoma State ever. He was always the backup. Who's he the backup to? Jackson, almost like Warren. No. Well, no, not quite. I wish, not quite. His cutting capabilities are a little bit different. Warren's more like that, the Justice Hill type. Would be a good comp for DeAndre Jackson. I think Dom actually is a decent comp, if we're being honest. He's Dominic Richardson with a little better vision. Chuba. What about Chuba? Yeah, do I think Ollie? Hold on, let me go back. Playoff system. Oh, built like Chuba. Or no, you're saying Jackson's built like Warren? You mean like the bowling ball, Darren Sproles kind of style? DeAndre Jackson's a pretty good sized fella. He's 5'10", 225. So he's way, way bigger than Jalen Warren. Why'd you retract your message, bro? I was trying to figure it out. But yeah, no, he does have the potential to be just as talented as Chuba. What Chuba did was he had a 2,000-yard season. Like that's Barry Sanders style stuff, right? So I don't know if Ollie will ever rush for 2,000 yards. Okay, but yeah, okay. So this is my point. We have one scat back now, and we have a power back, DeAndre Jackson. We have a power back in Ollie Gordon. We have a pretty much a power back in the new guy, Dante Buckner. Even again, guys, go check out Buckner's film. His cutbacks are Justice Hill level. He's a bigger, runs upright, Ketosin style. What type of QBD is Garrett Rangel remind you of for OK State in the past? So I want to go Clint Shelf. Garrett Rangel is a significantly more talented Clint Shelf. He's I feel like that's spot on. And I grew up with Clint Shelf. Funny part about Clint Shelf is he didn't get a lot of noticeability either because he had the displeasure of always being behind Austin Box and Enid. Like we all came up together at Waller Junior High School. And when Austin Box came in 7th grade, we'd heard about him. I remember we'd heard about this 6th grader that could dunk. And we were all like, nah, get out of here. Ain't no 6th grader dunking in Oklahoma. Sure enough, day one, Austin Bach shows up to junior high basketball tryouts, and we're doing a layup drill. So, bam! I was like, oh, he can dunk. He can dunk like that. And then he was the starting quarterback for Enid High, starting free safety, strong safety, you name it. Austin Box did everything for us at Enid High. And then I obviously transferred to Stillwater High my sophomore year. But so, yeah, he was always behind Austin Box. So nobody knew how talented Clint Shelf was. And he was very skinny. Clint Shelf will tell you he needed a few years of the weight room, right? Garrett Rangel, thankfully, because of Rob Glass, is I think he streamlined things a little bit better. And I think evidence is Gunnar Gundy. When you shave over 0.2 seconds off somebody's 40, that's hard to do, guys. Typically, you're either born fast or you're not. So for Rob Glass to be able to take Gunnar Gundy's 40 from a 4.8 to a 4.59, and then he put 15, 18 pounds on him, that's the exact replica of what we need to accomplish with Garrett Rangel. And if we can do that, we're good. So yeah, I think Clint Shelf is a very, very, very good comp. Thank you for bad A questions. This is fun. Chris Carson was behind was Chuba. Oh, nope. Guess again. Chuba was after them. What wide receiver do we have right now that can be a Justin Blackmon type? Easily, that's Jaden Bray. Didn't get to see him this year. He had back-to-back surgeries on his hand. Broke his hand, had surgery, was out for the first 5-6 weeks of the season, comes back. Very first time he's back, breaks the same hand. The only reason he was able to go in for, a few like the Bedlam, West Virginia type series is because he broke it in the exact same spot. Carson was behind Tyreek Hill. There you go. Had a baby nemesis. Yeah. Yeah, Chris Carson got stuck behind Tyreek Hill. And then before that, he was stuck behind Justice Hill. Yeah, both. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tyreek and Justice. Correct. Yeah, man. But a 2,000-yard season, that's hard to do. But Ollie's got the ability to do it. No flipping question. And guys, the coolest part about Ollie is he bleeds orange. Like, the dude loves O State. Like, he really, really wants to be here. He didn't just pick O State for shoots and giggles, right? You got to remember, Texas came in and offered him the bag, and he said no. And he was one of those people that we just need to. Yeah, he'll get better every day, and he would have played a lot more if he wouldn't have fumbled. Week 3? Right? That's one of those things. If you're young, same with Braylon Presley, guys. He's the reason he didn't play more, because he got in and dropped the daggone ball when it got thrown to him. Ollie Gordon, the middle of the season, he got kind of pushed back because of his fumble. Oh yeah, Shetron's going to be a dude. We are too loaded at wide receiver. We are just too loaded. Like, we could have 5 wide receiver sets. If we could find a way to run the football, that would be a nightmare. Could you imagine that as opposing defense? Not really 5 wide receiver set, but it is, because what is Blaine Green? A converted wide receiver who's got bad A hands, and he's proven it. He's already shown it. So he is a real wide receiver, a true XZ style wide receiver that put on 35 pounds, and we're going to put on 35 pounds, and he's a tight end now. So he still thinks like a wide receiver. He still runs routes like a wide receiver. He still pictures spacing like a wide receiver. So he's a pseudo wide receiver. So this could finally, dear baby, what is it? What does he say? What does Will Ferrell say? 8 pound, 11 ounce, dear baby Jesus, please let that happen. Let us use our tight ends, because since Brandon Pettigrew, we have wasted. And I know people are going to say Blake Jarwin. True. But if you remember, we barely used Jarwin. We did not use Jarwin near enough. I mean, we used him, but he got more use with the Dallas Cowboys than he did with Oklahoma State Cowboys. That's just it's a fact. So even the last bad A tight end we had that played, he didn't get enough catches. He wasn't an integral part of the offense. If you go look back at the Zach Robinson era, we ran specific plays, like we did spacing for Brandon Pettigrew. Hitting Brandon Pettigrew underneath was a part of the game. Yes, Alonzo Mays. Oh, that was so much fun. Okay, so if you're an Alonzo Mays guy, do you remember the game that I fell in love with RW McQuarters was, we lost. It was ow, that hurt. I just had surgery on my mouth a few days ago. Sometimes I forget. That or I can't remember what I was saying. I didn't feel very good. Oh yes, I'm sorry. Okay, so it was a triple overtime loss, but Artem McCorder scored a receiving touchdown. I think he took a reverse for a rushing touchdown, and a kickoff for a touchdown. He almost took a punt to the house for a touchdown. Artem McCorders was like that dude. He was him and Alonzo Mays. Tony Lindsay, he had flashes though. You know, Tony Lindsay had flashes of brilliance too. But yeah, Alonzo Mays was a focal point. R.W. McCorders played both ways for a reason. But that triple overtime loss to Mizzou, I think it was 97? Yeah, it was. It was 1997. that was one of the games that I was like, how do people not fall head over heels for O State? 97. Yes. Man, I freaking love this. I just I would get fired, but I want to go live every day now. Like if I started doing live shows every single day instead of my my regular shows, yeah, I'd get in trouble. But this is fun. You're right. Our Jim McCorders did everything. And he also, okay, Nemesis. Somebody's gonna know this. Okay, this is gonna be too easy. What else did R.W. McCorders do on his time at Oklahoma State? I know it's going to be too easy, especially for y'all if you already know all this stuff. Yeah, dude, Tony Lindsay was a dude. Yeah, basketball. Okay, correct. But what position did he play in basketball? Yes. This is so much fun. Rob Glass got tons of work to do on players this offseason. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily like a drastic overhaul by any stretch needs to be done. But you're all right. Like there's a center. No, he was a point guard. He rotated at the two guard just because we had so many dudes back then. Yeah, yeah. Nemesis, we're on this stuff. Yeah, that's too cool. So who got to? I didn't get to watch wrestling today. Who got to watch that? Like, I had a buddy send me the clip of Luke Serber. Ah, that was part of the inspiration to go live because we had that and we have to talk basketball. Guys, we're an hour and 7 into this daggone thing, and we haven't even covered really a whole lot of basketball. We've definitely not covered Jacie Hoyt. We haven't covered GIA attendance. I'm sure most of y'all probably saw. Oh yeah, dude, stuff used to go down at the Colvin. Like that's where you went to find out if you had anything because you were going to run into some current players out there too. I'm sure R.W. McCorders at the Colvin was a flipping superstar. Like I can only imagine. Ooh, another blast from the past. Another one who dominated at Colvin, but you didn't see a lot of on the court. You remember Janava Weatherspoon? He had, I think it was one of those. What were those things called? Orange peels. Why don't we do those anymore? Like we had like Jeff Foxworthy and Sinbad, and actually the second concert I ever saw in my life, well, third. So okay, my first concert that I ever went to was part of that Orange Peel stuff. We had Three Doors Down in Galgariba. Like I think it was 05, 04, 05. And yeah, we were doing a lot of cool stuff back then. We don't do all that anymore. And okay, maybe that's part of the reason that GIA attendance is down. Because guys, I don't care. Let's be fair. If we were 0-8, but we're losing every game by 5 points, 4 points, 6 points, 10 points, is that not worth the price of admission? Are you not getting your money's worth at least? Like, what else is there to do on campus than to drink some extra Gatorade and go get Galgariba hopping? When did that fall apart? When did that just completely evaporate? Because this 2,000 people in the stands thing that's bad. When we're getting out seated by places like Oakland and Seton Hall and Hofstra and Tulsa, It's sad. Yeah, RW was the dude. Cowgirls basketball might make. Oh, yeah, absolutely. They will make March Madness. I would bet money on it right now. I'd bet $100 at this very moment, and then another 100 tomorrow, that our women's basketball team makes it to the tournament. No doubt about it. They are that good. Jacie Hoyt is building a monster. Okay, so people want to say that maybe, it's lack of success in men's basketball, which is why GIA doesn't have the attendance that it used to have. Can we please then get pumped up for women's basketball? I know it's a rarity, right? I know we don't pack GIA for women's basketball like ever. I get that. But can we start? Can we just start giving more love to women's basketball than men's basketball? I'm okay with that. Because Jacie Hoyt is my Lanta, guys. Jacie Hoyt is the best hire we've had in a long time. Like, and we're not just going off, this is a small sample size, all right? I get that. But if you go back and watch her UMKC stuff, the way she's engaged with players, the way that she holds herself and everybody else accountable is amazing. She is the new version of Kenny Gajewski. Like, Mike Gundy, if he's not going to take half of his salary and give it to O-linemen and O-line coaches, then he needs to give some of it to Jacie Hoyt and Kenny Gajewski. Yeah, you get a mill. Hey, you get a mill. Because he's got the ability to do it. We all know that. This season didn't go right. We all know that. And if we do not keep Kenny Gajewski and Jacie Hoyt, I don't know. Like, I wanted to say something crazy, but I do that enough, so I'm not going to. Yeah, guys, let's show up for women's basketball because we're good. And we're pretty fun to watch. And like, I'll be legitimate 100% of the time. Women's basketball is not the funnest thing in the world to watch. It's just the pace of the game is not the same. The way they cut and the way they react and the way they body people up, it's not the same. The intensity, it's not the same. These are all facts. But this team is actually fun to watch, right? Laura Garzon, since we're doing this blast from the past stuff, y'all remember Daniel Bobick? I know you do. She's that. She's our women's Daniel Bobick. She's the sixth woman, the sixth woman off the bench. She's a pick and pop, a 3-point assassin. And she's so good at it. That's all she needs to do. Yeah, like I said, we'll make March Madness. I would bet money on it all day, every day, twice on Sundays. Yeah, we'll definitely make the tournament unless something catastrophic happens. You asked a college kid why we don't orange peel, and he had no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, they're missing out, man. Like, orange peel and calf fry. Like, that was the jam. Jacie is a beast. She is an absolute home run. Might have a sellout crowd for Bedlam Cowgirl basketball. Can we do that? You know what? I'm gonna write that down. Okay, we gotta make that a mission. Hold on. Yeah, we gotta make that a mission. Sell out GIA hoops for Bedlam. Why Bedlam specifically? I should probably know this answer. Yeah, but I don't. Is OU pretty good this year in women's basketball? Are they going to be up there with that Baylor type of status? Garth should bring. Yeah. Garth Brooks should bring orange. But somebody needs to bring orange peel back. Like, that was a blast. Again, orange peel and calf fry. That was like the bee's knees of all events in Stillwater all the time, every year. You could count on it, right? It was something to look forward to all the time. And we had huge names come in. We had massive names. Okay, so I was in a band at one point in time, and we did get signed to a label, moved to St. Louis. kind of fell apart, right? My drummer and guitarist were homesick and blah, 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 blah. And it turned into a job and they didn't like that. But anywho, we actually had a gig lined out for a calf ride. We were supposed to open for ZZ Top. And it just, my bandmates kind of punched me in the throat on that one. And it didn't end up happening, right? We didn't end up opening for ZZ Top. But calf ride was, it was a lot of things that I can't say in a microphone. But so Orange Pill was pretty similar. People, students used to. Yes, that is fact. Yeah, students used to wait in line for hours. The pitching tent thing, that was happening. What was that? Early 2000s? Yeah, late 90s, mid 90s, early 2000s. And you know, even some of Travis Ford's time, not a lot, but like I said on one of my shows, I used to take oil field execs, you know, to games, and I took some dudes from Kirkpatrick Oil to a KU game when they were ranked number 1, and we had Markel Brown, Marcus Smart, LeBron Nash, Mark Cobbins, and it was a sold out, packed house. And both of those dudes walked out of there. One of them was he has Illinois season tickets. So Illinois, you know, usually pretty salty. He's been to some packed out Syracuse games. When we came out of that arena and we won, right? We pulled off a massive upset like we tend to do every year against KU. And when we walked out of the stadium, he was like, "I'm not gonna lie." He's like, "That was as good as you said it was," because they were talking crap the whole time. Right, because I'm propping Gallagher up to be, you know, better than anything else. And at that time, it was. At that time, look, no questions asked, we had more of a crowd experience than KU did at the Fog. Now, since then, it's dissipated, obviously. I get that. But, yeah, at one point in time, Gallagher Arena was the ticket. It was the place to go to see a game. Period. Even before we did the renovation. Y'all remember when it was 6,000 and they were selling those bricks with the commemorative Gallagher coin in the middle? My dad, he was so happy when I've never seen a person be so elated to get a brick in the mail, an actual brick with a coin in it. But it was cool. It was cool. Yeah, we pack it out back then. Sean had number 1 recruiting class in the nation. I wish they could have stayed together. Yeah, I didn't know that. Sean Sutton had number 1 recruiting class in the nation. I don't recall that. Yeah, the brick thing, that was cool. Damn. So okay, but was that the year that? No, the year that we got Gerald Green and he bounced passed on us, basically. I was under Eddie, right? That wasn't under Sean. I don't remember. I don't remember, honestly. That's cool. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Some never made it to campus. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, y'all remember Gerald Green like ripping our hearts out, and that was back when that didn't happen, right? The people who went from high school to pro back when we signed or got Gerald Green commit were Kobe and Kevin Garnett. That was it. People weren't going straight from high school to pros back then at all. It was not happening. It was Kevin Garnett and Kobe Bryant. That was it. And then Gerald Green did it to us. Oh, he was in that class. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, Eddie was the coach. But Sean recruited him. That makes sense. That makes 100% sense. Yeah, for sure. Man, this is awesome. Okay, so since we just had a couple people leave, I know you're probably supposed to make announcements when you have the most amount of people, but I'll give it to y'all because since y'all have hung in the longest. So coming up, I think it's my calendar's downstairs. Yes. Okay. So tomorrow I have Marshall Levinson on the show. I'm sure most of you know who he is, and he's got a very, very good pulse on what's happening inside the rumor mill when it comes to the coaching stuff and the Cale Gundy stuff and all that fun jazz. So he's going to be on the show tomorrow. And then Tuesday, I have, yeah, like I said, the friend that does all the VIP stuff. He's going to explain how he got into that. I think that it's something that we have access to or could have access to. So he's going to kind of go over that, how you can get in the VIP stuff. So you have locker room access and all that fun jazz. So he'll be on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, obviously, I'll just do the regular show. And then Thursday, I have a current player on Thursday, so I should know this. I'll have to look at my calendar. But okay, I've got Luke Phillips coming on the show. That's for sure. I got the new Australian punter that is going to take over for Tom Hutton. He's going to be on the show. Obviously, DeAndre Jackson will be on the show. We just had to kind of work a couple kinks out. I've got a I've got a couple basketball players that my buddy Logan's helping me work on. That'll be coming soon. And, so this next week, it's going to be a lot about some of the analytics, right? Some of the journalism type of people that we're going to have on the show to break down the rumor mill and what's true, what's not, what's available, what's not realistic, right? So we're going to have insider information both tomorrow and Tuesday. So tomorrow and Tuesday, it'll be insider stuff. Wednesday, regular show. Thursday, I've got current player on. This is so terrible that I can't remember. But yeah, and then we got Luke Phillips coming on. We got the new kicker that coming in from Australia from Pro Kick. So he'll be able to kind of break down some of the reasons why we're having this massive success all of a sudden with Aussie kickers. If we can have a Tom Hutton every year, bring it on. Absolutely. And then we are going to start shifting. I'm going to get some of the girls women's basketball and softball. Guys, let's just embrace Trace Ford visiting SMU. That would be okay. That's a perfect fit for Trace Ford. That is a phenomenal fit for Trace Ford. It is. Scott Tyner. Yeah, that was. Thank you. I appreciate that. So that's like the least viewed show of like all of them, but we're gonna do it again at some point in time. I think next time we're just gonna do it live, me and him. So for everybody out there in Stillwater, if you go to George's Stables, my mom has been managing that place for over a decade. Her name's Sherry. Go give her a hard time on me. No, I said a hard time, not drinks. I hope there's not a drink called a hard time, or I might be sending my mom some cash. But yeah. So whenever next year, I think we're gonna do like live post game shows at Georgia Stables would be ideal. And then we're gonna get people like Scott on face to face because he was having some problems with his internet, as you can tell by the video. So I know why it's the least viewed, which sucks because it was a really, really, really good interview. But I understand why people can't stick through all of it because he has gaps where he's lagging behind and you can't hear him. And so it was a little bit difficult to pull off. So I appreciate you watching it. And it happens. It happens. Sometimes you have technical difficulties, just like tonight with DeAndre Jackson. Technical difficulties happen. Yes, I have the benefit of having all this like corporate style program stuff. I do. But some of the people that I'm getting on the show, they don't have that. So sometimes I'm at the mercy of what their accessibility is too. And as I get better and as the show gets bigger, I'll be able to remedy some of that stuff. But for now, sometimes we're going to have some technical glitches and internet issues, especially when you're, doing interviews all over the country. It is what it is. But I appreciate y'all watching it. And for those of you who haven't caught it or you couldn't stomach, getting away through it because of all the technical issues, if you can, it is a good listen because it is a good interview. And it does kind of bring that nostalgic feeling of the Les Miles era, right? The pre-Les Miles era. And we're going to have Luke Phillips on. So we'll get to dive into some of the Les Miles era stuff. Hody, 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 oh. I hope that's what you were going for. Where do you think Spencer will end up? Honestly, I think, Florida is a good fit for him. You hear some of the Mike Yursich connection stuff. From what I've been told, they didn't have a ship at all. Spencer Sanders and Mike Yursich, right? That was Yursich was in, and he wasn't really going to be targeted as, I don't know, as somebody that was going to play immediately. So I've been told that there was no animosity by any stretch, but Spencer wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of Yursich. So I don't know if I buy all that. There's a good chance that Spencer Sanders does not get transferred anywhere. He really didn't have a hell of a season. I haven't heard that angle. I have heard that he's contemplating coming back, and if he does, then that's great, right? Like that's awesome. But he should only come back if he can get it damn near on paper with Gundy's signature that he's going to have more say in the offense. Like, if you're going to give him the keys to the car, give him the flipping keys to the car. Don't give him the spare flipping key. That's what happened this last season. Gundy said publicly, I'm giving Spencer the keys to the offense, but he lied. Okay, he didn't lie. He didn't give him the keys to the offense. He gave him a spare key to some of the offense. That's exactly what happened. So if we get Spencer back, that's phenomenal. But I only want Spencer back if it's under the premise that he's going to have more say. Somebody just needs to come on board that will just say, the hell with it in the fourth quarter and be more aggressive to find that killer mentality. That's all we miss. That's all we lack. But as far as production goes, I disagree a little bit. I think Spencer Sanders, the cumulative effect of what he's put forth on film over the last few years, even though his number on picks is bad, right? 67 TDs and 40 picks is not great numbers. You're 100% right. But if you go to somewhere and it's because you feel like you were limited and you're going to an offense that you think is going to let you shine, then there's still a lot of options. Okay. He would probably start at Penn State. He would start at Florida. He would start at Texas A&M. I mean, where else? He would start at Iowa State. He would no, probably not. Will Howard probably keeps you. If Max doesn't Duggan, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, I can't talk. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, words are hard. If Max Duggan doesn't come back for another season, Spencer Sanders could easily start at TCU over Chandler Morris. No disrespect, Chandler Morris, but he's not as good as Spencer Sanders. Yeah, like I'm more than happy to have Spencer back. That would be great. I just don't want to see Spencer come back and see the same thing. What's the point for him? What's the point for the fans? All of it. If you've had 4.5 years with Tim Rattay and Casey Dunn, you think there would be a little bit more developed. There's a reason, and it could be pure ego, pure stubborn jackwagonry by Gundy. It could be, but there's a reason that he didn't really give him the keys to the offense. There's a reason he only gave him the spare set of keys to the offense. We don't know what that is. Gundy has a track record that gives us a little bit of insight, but there's 0 point for Spencer to come back if he doesn't have some sort of guarantee that things are going to be better. And I'm not saying that like I don't think he should. I'm saying that as a former player. You know what I mean? Like, he wants to play in the NFL. And if he thinks that Dunn and Gundy are going to hamstring him again in the fourth quarter, why would he come back? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me, at least. So what else? We already talked about Jacie. We covered a little bit of basketball, covered a little bit of wrestling. We haven't covered baseball yet, but baseball and basketball, they have their time, they have their place, and trust me, they will get a massive platform. I actually paid my son $50. It might $50 probably in hindsight sounds ridiculous. We only get the whole 50 because he turned it in late, but I gave my son a bet. It was $50 if he could write an entire 2-page paper on Robin Ventura and the Gary Ward era of baseball. And I gave him like a week to do it. It took that fool like 2 weeks. We ain't getting the whole $50. But it actually, I'll admit, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's good enough that I'm absolutely going to use it. So, yeah, we're going to do a Robin Ventura baseball slanted day. And then we'll talk about the recruiting, because this year's baseball recruiting was very interesting. Very, very interesting. I found it very odd, when we let damn near 20 guys go, because we haven't done that. But then you see Matt take the job with the St. Louis Cardinals. And if I'm reading between the lines and I'm looking at who we brought in size-wise, it looks like we're finally going to go back to a little bit more small ball. Because for the last 7-8 years, look at the rosters. We were obsessed. If you were 6'6", 250 pounds, welcome to O State. That's how we recruited for the last 6-7 years, legitimately speaking. So you had a bunch of your Carson McCuskers all over the field, right? You had a bunch of 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" dudes like Mitchell Stone all over the field. Justin Campbell's even 6'7", 6'8". Jordy's back, yeah. And he's a small ball king. Him and Donnie Walton, they know how to put on some small ball. Well, think about it, guys. The last time we were making Omaha runs, we were playing small ball. And I think Holiday abandoned the small ball recruiting mindset and went for a power mindset, because this is proven true. Matt Holiday is obsessed with coaching launch angles, and he's very, very, very good at it. Right? Like if you think Albert Pujols, he's really good at launch angles. So it's less about technique. It's less about fundamentals, and it's more about getting your angles right, predicated upon what pitches are coming in. So, yeah, I think we went for power because we could, right? Because of the Holiday name and O'Brate Stadium and Oklahoma State University, we had the clout to get all the 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" dudes that we wanted. So we went and got all of them, and that was our roster. Right? And now we let a lot of those dudes go. And if you look at the roster now, you don't see very many 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" dudes anymore. So I'm hoping that means, especially, like you're right, Bubba, wet blanket, especially with Jordy Mercer coming in, that we're going to go back to what got us to Omaha, which was small ball. You got to mix a little power in there. But hello, Nolan McLean. I know he's most likely going to do pitching only. He's going to pull a Justin Campbell. But I would love to see him hit occasionally still, because he's either strikes out or what? Strikes out, strikes up the gap band. That's all it is. That's all it ever is with Nolan McLean. So we'll see if he does pitching only. I hope he still hits, but I completely get it for his draft stock if he goes to pitcher only. Prediction for Wisconsin game. Yes. But you know what? Should I wait on the video about Wisconsin? Because we're going to do a few shows just about the bowl game. But since y'all have hung tough, okay, yeah, okay. That's fair. That's fair. And you've asked phenomenal questions. My prediction for Wisconsin game. So what I've broke down thus far is our issue is going to be on the line. But that's like, oh, Cody, you're a genius. You figured out our own line sucks. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it. Their line is their strength. If we can combat that, I think the other areas of the game we win. Again, I'm going to do full diatribes on videos, but I'll give you all a little sneak peek. Right? O-line is going to be a problem for us, and their O-line is going to be a little bit of a problem for us as well. But here's where the creativity side of things comes in. Coach Dickey knows he's out, right? This will be his last experience coaching for Oklahoma State University. We could potentially bring him back as an analyst. That's definitely a possibility. But we're better at wide receiver. We are better. I'll say it till I'm blue. We are better at running back. We are the ones trying to run a zone blocking scheme with power dudes. We as a staff are trying to put a square peg around a hole. So you haven't seen what Jaden Nixon and Ollie Gordon can really do, nor DeAndre Jackson, if we're being 100% honest about it. So we're better at wide receiver. We're better at running back. We're better at safety. We're better at corner. They're probably better at linebacker. They're better at linebacker, and they're better at but the O line for sure. Their D line's pretty good, and our D line's been a little bit beat up, so I'd probably go the edge there. So if we get creative, I think that we could put on a little bit of a track meet that they have difficulty slowing down. If we get up on a lead, Wisconsin is going to have a difficult time reeling us back in. So if I'm done and I'm Gundy and I'm whatever, if I'm on the staff, the script plays, which is every team in the world has your scripted plays. You've heard it 1,000 times. The first 15 to 20 plays of the game are written down on paper and they're rehearsed in practice. So especially when you're doing your shell day, your shorts, t-shirts, maybe even a thud practice day, you're incorporating all of that stuff. So if we get creative and we don't do the tried and true run on 3rd and 18 bull honky, if we don't do that and we get creative, I'm going to say 35 to 28 O State. 35-28 O State. And I mean, that's it. 35-28 O State. Boom. There's my I hadn't even done a prediction on my grading film, but I'm still going with the film grading stuff. Wisconsin's film is a little hard to grade because you have to dig a little bit. Ours isn't, because we have places that put the whole game out on YouTube. So you can watch 90% of OSU games from the whole 3 hours, right? I didn't see a crap ton of that with Wisconsin. So I had to do a little bit of the film breakdowns off of their highlights. And you would think, for being Wisconsin and being 6-6, they would have quite a few 20, 30-minute highlights. I didn't find many. I found a lot of 3-minute, 7-minute, 9 minutes. Obviously, I graded those. But I don't feel comfortable in the point that I've been able to get to the grading of Wisconsin, because I'm not comfortable with all of the info yet. I don't think I've seen enough. See, our receivers have to hang the ball. Yeah. Well, oh, dag nabbit, I was about to get off here. You're good. You guys are awesome. That's a good point. And that's going to be huge for Garrett Rangel. Uh-oh. What's happening? Sorry. Somebody just said, Cody, you have to get on. This must be big news. What? Bro, what's up? I don't. I don't get it. But that's my dude, Logan, by the way. Logan. So, I love the fact that we've got this thing to a point. This is no bull honky. Every morning I wake up, I've got at least 15 to 22 messages from people. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Like, did you see this? Did you see this tweet? Did you see this recruit? Have you seen this film yet? And guys, it makes my job so much fun. You guys make my job so much fun because, again, it allows me to, if I'm just being real, it gets the process very, very, very sped up for me. So instead of just, researching for hours, which, to be honest with you guys, when I had my other channel and when this started, I was reading the news articles and watching film for 6-7 hours a day. before I came up with content, but now I get so much information in my DMs that all I got to do is research that, right? So I get this bit of information, I dive deep into it, go over their film, figure out where they went to school, figure out the schools that that were coming after them on the multitude of sites. So obviously, I still go very deep into it, but just when people send me stuff and I wake up and I'm like, okay, no, I didn't know that, it gives me more stuff to research. And clearly, I love researching. I love my job. I love what I do. Oh, yes. Logan's my guy. Logan is my guy. Okay, that's why he wanted me to get in there. Hold on, let me ask him if I can announce it. Are you on here? Oh, yeah. All right. So my dude Logan, Logan Whitson is eventually, I don't know if staff's the right word, but he's going to be a go-to guy because he's got connections in Tulsa, like Tulsa Memorial High School and stuff like that. So thank you, Logan. We will be having Caleb Boone on the show Tuesday. Yeah, and again, so it's people like that make this job so much more fun, guys. I had somebody, Joe Glenn, shout out to you, Bubba. He hit me up the other day. He's like, "Hey, man, if you ever need like statistical data charts of different stuff, just let me know." And then I had other people message me about recruiting and who's potentially coming and coaching and it's great, right? And I'm sure some of y'all have saw on social media. I stuck up for, I can't remember his name. Logan actually might be able to help me correct his name. 50 Cowboy, something to that effect. And he got roasted, for like just basically saying, "Hey, there's big news coming. Everybody stay tight." There was a couple of people that had the audacity to get on him like, "I hate when you guys pretend you have breaking news and then we never hear nothing, and you guys just flex your bullcrap muscles pretending you have sources." And I obviously had his back because, guys, how good would we be, the ones of us that do this for a living? How good would we be if we threw our sources under the bus? You can't release certain information until you have, um, I don't know, I guess the release. People give you information because why? Because it's in good confidence. They want you to know to pump stuff, right? They want you to pump things to get excited about without throwing anybody under the bus. That's what this game is all about. I got you, Bubba. I'll holler at you as soon as I go. I'm going to say player right now. Do you think gets no attention but should attention for football? Under the radar. And I'm not just saying this because he was on the show. Okay, you know what? I was going to say Lyric Rawls, but I will say Trey Rucker. Go find Trey Rucker. It's okay. It's hard to find Trey Rucker film per se that shows you what I'm talking about. But if you watch games from last season, so maybe last season's highlights on the games, that we had leads on because he was a backup, but he was one of those people, and you see this in coaching on film all the time, right? The dudes that just throw their body out there. Brock Martin's one of those. They're not always worried about perfect form or technique. Sometimes they're just worried about being a human torpedo. That's Trey Rucker. Remember Calvin Bundage? How many 15-yard penalties that dude got? How many not face mask, but targeting. How many calls like that Calvin Bundage got? A lot, right? It was a fun haha. He's gonna get a 15-yarder a game. It's because he did everything at 73,000 miles an hour. That is Trey Rucker. Trey Rucker is somebody that needs to be known more about. Matter of fact, I need to yeah, there we go. That's a target to get on the show because he doesn't get enough love at all. I mean, he's like our best kept secret in the safety back in secondary. All right, so we do got, where are we at? An hour 45. All right, hey Logan, we'll do 15 more minutes here, and then I'll get with you. DeKelvin Beeman. Yes, DeKelvin Beeman is a beast in the weight room. Yeah, he's gonna make some hay. We already saw a decent amount of Cam Smith. Lyric Rawls, obviously, he's kind of like Trey Rucker. He's a little bit more technically sound, I guess you could say, a little faster, but that reckless mentality, that's what we need. That's why Justin Wright is such a perfect fit. I hope y'all saw the Justin Wright show. He was awesome. That was the show. I don't know if you heard this earlier, Logan. So one of my bosses called me the other day, and he watched the Lyric Rawls show and the Justin Wright show, and he said he sent an email to corporate saying that this show, Locked On Oklahoma State, could easily be the #1 college show in all of the entire network in the next 12 months if things continue at this rate. That's the mission. That is exactly what we're gunning for. Guys, second place at December next year, it's not acceptable. So we're going to keep pushing this stuff. And if you also notice, so here's the reason why. He said, Locked On Oklahoma State will be the top show in 12 months if other shows don't, step up their game, basically. And it's not that I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm not the bee's knees of this job. What it is, though, is I respect the job, right? There is people, not necessarily with our company, right? But there is people that clearly they get on in front of a camera, computer, whatever, behind a microphone. They hit play or record, and then they just start Googling stuff. You can see it. Like that irritates the hell out of me. I'm old school. I write everything down. And if I write it down, for some reason, it helps me commit it to memory pretty good, which is how I remember stats and all that crazy crap. But yeah, I hate it when people just wake up and jump on and start typing and Googling and reading off of the screen. Like, it bothers me. It really bothers me. So that, to me, that's something that separates me, is I don't do that. Like I research and I take notes for hours before I hit record. Number one, and number two is when you have to say, not when you have to, but when it's part of your shtick, and it is, we have to kind of go over. Thank you very much for making Locked On Network your first listen today on Spotify and all that good stuff. But to me, it's like, how can you say, I want to thank you kindly, or thank you for stopping by and making us your first listen every day, if it's not every day? To me, that makes zero sense. None. A job is a job is a job, in my opinion. So if I'm going to take a job, I'm going to do it to the very best of my abilities, which means I'm going to dedicate the time necessary to make it the flipping best thing possible, which means we're going to do this 7 days a week. When I say thank you for making Locked On Oklahoma State your choice for your daily listen, it's because I'm going to do it every flipping fracking day. The only day I couldn't do it was when I had mouth surgery, and I wasn't supposed to have surgery. I was supposed to just get like antibiotics and like prepared for surgery. But he was like, you know what? Actually, you're here and da-da-da and blah, blah, blah. And you don't want any knockout stuff, so you can drive. So it is what it is. Yes. I love you. Yeah. So wait, what? Lyric Rawls? What are you talking about? So Logan, he's definitely. So I'm stuck in Colorado, and I had a bunch of surgeries. I was stuck in the hospital for a long time, blah, blah, blah. And ironically enough, you have to fight for your money. I didn't. For the first 8 months, after the surgeries and all that fun jazz, I was like, the VA, disability, all that, it'll sort itself out. Why did I think that? Why was I that naive? I don't flipping know. So for 8 months, I just didn't do anything. I tried to focus on, the next surgery or rehab or whatever. And then it just snowballed. And before I knew it, it was a year and a half before I finally got a lawyer, because I kept being told Oh no, this is why you pay taxes. Oh no, this is why you enlisted in the military. Oh no, don't worry about it. So I didn't. Come to find out, I needed to worry about it. I've had a lawyer now, and the lawyer's been working it. We've been fighting for almost a year and a half, almost a year and a half now. So collectively, 2.5, 3 years that this has been going on. I had 12 surgeries, so it's been a thing. But so I'm stuck up here dealing with all that, right? But Logan, since he's one of the dudes that again, I wake up every morning and it's like ding ding ding, yes, all right, cool. And then so I have people give me stuff to research, and I have people ask me questions. Can you cover this on your show today? And that means that it is growing. That means that people care. That means that people are watching on a daily basis because they want things to kind of be shed to light. Now, there's some things I won't divulge. It is what it is. There's some things I don't feel a necessity to divulge. Some things I can't divulge. Some things I don't see the need to. But there's quite a few things that I'm like, absolutely, that's actually a really good idea, right? I like that idea. I like that slant. I like that question, right? So the Galagraba thing, I did a video about that. Oh hell, a couple weeks ago. But I had people messaging me like, "Hey, can you cover this?" It was obviously people that hadn't seen the show from a few weeks ago, so no big deal. I covered it again. That was an impromptu. I didn't plan on doing that show that way that day, but I had enough messages about it that I was like, okay, clearly this is a problem, and I addressed it. And you guys know I get going. I get going sometimes when I get fired up. Uh, yeah, I get to getting. I get to getting sometimes. And so, point of the story is, if you're one of these people that are massively beneficial, obviously, I'm greatly appreciative. But people like Logan, they're gonna have a hand in some of the financial decisions here hopefully shortly. I'll leave it at that. How's that, Logan? But yeah, there's sometimes you gotta man, I don't want to say something wrong on my company channel. You you're gonna be fine. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. So when I get done fighting all this bull honky, not only is there going to be financial incentives in place for people, I've already got people asking about co-hosting. I'm considering it. I don't know if I'm exactly going to go that direction, or at least not yet. But maybe having somebody on to not necessarily co-host, but to do like a weekly appearance. But again, like when I have people messaging me to get on the show, um, yeah, it's filling up fast, right? And I love it. Yeah, you guys are flipping awesome. So I appreciate you guys hanging in tight. We're gonna have even more players coming down the pipeline because we've got some that again you can't really discuss until certain things break down. An example, I'll give you an example. So a freshman, due to Gundy's rule on freshmen in media, the freshmen that I do have set up to be on the show, I have to wait. Unfortunately, um, it's Gundy's rule, but it is what it is. We're not going to break. We're not going to break any rules here. Are we going to break people's hearts occasionally and get under people's skin every now and again? Maybe. But guys, I can't not be me, right? It is what it is. I'm very passionate about this. I love the hell out of our university. I've got a state tattoo, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting to put another one up. But if I didn't have y'all's involvement, then it would. I mean, I can't say the show still wouldn't be taken off. I think it would be, but I can tell you that the interaction and the messages and the emails and stuff that I'm getting, they do help drive the show. They really do, because I have a pretty good, feel on what's happening at O State in almost every sport around campus, right? But you can never ever have too much knowledge, guys. There's stuff, I promise. There's stuff that I write a whole paper on, and then I don't even use. And it's just because I love what I'm doing, and I go down the rabbit hole sometimes. I'll start doing research on one thing, and it leads me into something else, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know he played here. And then I watch all of his highlight videos, and then I have to go find out how old his kids are to see if his kids are of the recruiting age. And it's just, yeah, it's a never ending spiraling event. And the crazy part about it is, I used to do this stuff at work when before all this surgery stuff happened. I was this sales manager for an imports car dealership, and we were the only non-commission based dealership around in the Colorado Springs, Denver area. And usually in that line of work, it's commission, so you get a percentage of the profit of the car. We didn't do it that way. It was a numbers game. You got a certain amount of per car, every single car. So if you sold a $150,000 car or a $1,500 car, you got the same amount of money. So to me, it was just, okay, I'll hustle everybody. That's fine. So I did that, and I worked my way up pretty fast. And so I got to management. My objective was to be running the sales floor within 24 months. It took me 26. Okay, so we didn't quite hit there. And then as soon as I became manager, I told them, Saturdays, I love you, but I'll be watching my O State games. And the owner of the company's like, oh, there's no way, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, brother, with all due respect, I've been doing it this whole time. Every Saturday, I go to the daggone break room and I watch the game. So everybody knew there's going to be a couple hours when I was a salesman. There's been a couple hours every Saturday that Cody was going to be unavailable. And because I produced enough numbers, it wasn't that big of a deal. And then so when I was managing the damn thing, I actually had less time to watch. So when I got this job, it was natural, right? I was doing this stuff, this not the same amount of research, but a decent amount when working other jobs. So when it became my actual job, the only difference is I write it down, and then I have an audience to talk to, and instead of my kids, like my oldest son, he's a diehard O State fan, right? And that's his dream, is to play baseball at O State. But even he's like, okay, Dad, I get it, right? I get it. You want to talk about that recruit, but he's, I don't know, whatever they do nowadays. 15, trying to find a girlfriend. I tell you what, he researches cars constantly. I'm like, dude, what do you do? Dad, look at this car. No. Why are you looking at a $18,000 car? Not gonna happen, right? And then he shows me this. He's like, oh, this is only $8,000. This is gonna be easy. Like, no, dude, they want you to finance, and you're gonna be 16. You can't finance. It's illegal, and blah blah blah. I know we're getting way off of O State. I really, really apologize, but just give you guys a little backstory. This is what I do all day, every day. Rain, sunshine, even if this wasn't my job, this is still what I'd be doing, I promise. And so not only are for Logan and others out there, there's financial incentives, obviously. But one thing that I want to do eventually, other than doing the post-game shows live at somewhere like a Georgia Stables, I want to put on an event. So this is something I do need help with, even if it's just advice, right, or ideas. But I want to eventually put on some sort of NIL event where we have a crap ton of players involved. Maybe I don't know, meet and greet, backyard barbecue, autograph signing type of thing. So we're gonna get to the point that we do that. So yeah, I appreciate everybody that has been on this ride. It's only been a month and a half. Okay. We're on a baby ride, but that's just like I told my boss. I appreciated the kind words. And yes, right now I'm a little fish in a really, really big pond, but I can guarantee you we're going to end up being the only flipping shark in that pond eventually. So I appreciate you all. I love you all, as always. God bless. Go Pokes. And we're going to do this again tomorrow with Marshall Levinson on, as well as a traditional show. Tuesday, we got Caleb Boone on, as well as the VIP O State guy, Eli Berry. Wednesday, regular show. Thursday, we've got more players on. So it's going to be a good ride, y'all. And keep it coming. Because again, am I going to use everything I get? No, I'm not. But everything that I get, I promise you, I read, and I promise you, I research. You could be like Logan, and you could just overload me. I'm fine with that. When I wake up, all of the badass info I get from Logan, I legitimately have to write it down, and then I have to, dive into the research of it. So there's going to be opportunities in the future, whether he wants to take them or not officially. That's up to him. But yeah, guys, it's amazing. It's amazing that we've been able to do so much so fast. I think I'll look. Oh, hold on. Actually, let me look. We've had, since I've taken over, or since we've taken over, sorry, we've had 26, like 18,000, over 18,000 downloads. Yes. Is that right? Yes. We've had over 18,000 downloads on podcasting. Yeah. Prayers to Mike Leach. Go Pokes. Hell yeah. I love it. This is awesome. Okay. So, yeah, unless y'all got anything else, it's gonna be a loaded week. But if you couldn't already tell, this is how it's gonna go. Honestly, guys, I a week ago, when I was calendaring out, all of the players and people coming on, like I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time to do this many, because honestly, it's turning into two shows in a day now is becoming normal. And I thought that it was going to be an issue. Like I didn't want to put out too much. So like, okay, the other day after I had the surgery and then I had to miss a day and then we did 3 videos. I was like, this is going to be an overload. This is going to be too many. This is going to be too much. I thought that, putting 3 videos out in one day was just going to get, too congested, maybe too convoluted. And one of the 3 videos was going to get kind of, pushed back in the corner, but that didn't happen. We've got a lot going. We've got a lot coming. And it's just how fast it's come to me. It's awesome. It's awesome. And yes, absolutely. We covered it a little bit earlier. Prayers to Mike Leach. He had a heart attack and he's like a national treasure of the game, right? He's like today's, what's his name? Not Lee Corso. Is it Lee Corso? No. The dude, dagnabbit. This makes me mad. He's a legendary coach, coached at Notre Dame. He was on ESPN forever. He has the Daffy Duck crazy lisp, won a national title, I believe, with Notre Dame as well. That dude. Anyways, he was like a, I don't know, the old grandpa of college football that you just had to pay attention to. That is Lou Holtz. Yes, thank you. You're awesome. Yes, Lou Holtz. He's our day's Lou Holtz. He's the guy that's willing to say crazy crap. Lou Holtz would say stuff when he was a coach of Notre Dame that you're not supposed to say as a coach of Notre Dame. And it made him very, very popular. And obviously, when you win national titles, it kind of helps a bit. But yeah, his career launched forever just because of how willing he was to say it like it was and be outspoken. So yeah, prayers to Mike Leach. Hopefully this isn't something that kind of changes him. Unfortunately, heart attacks and strokes and things of that nature can. But yeah, so prayers legitimately go out to him. And again, we keep circling the wagon. If we could go for hours. I love it, guys. Absolutely, I love it. Any sport, any question, anytime. Okay, that's not true. I don't know anything about tennis. So if you ask me about Oklahoma State tennis, you're not going to like the answers because I don't know. But I even have done a paper on equestrian. No cap, as my kid would say. No cap, Dad. Yeah. Will I ever use the paper I wrote on our equestrian? But just to give you a heads up, our recruiting in equestrian is phenomenal. We've got a couple Okies. We've got a girl from Ohio that broke a bunch of records. See, here we go again. I could do this for days. And our coach, so shout out to our coach. He's somebody that's been doing equestrian for over 20 to 21 years for basically for free and like, some favors, I'm sure, but he just officially got big boy paychecks and he got like $1 million. But he's worth it. He deserves it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Our equestrian team's really good. And since we've come out with the new so there is a new governing body. Okay, so for a long time, Oklahoma State would win like pseudo national championships in rodeo and equestrian, and they didn't really mean nothing because it wasn't recognized by the NCAA. Well, now it's not the NCAA; it's like the NCESA, but it is a legal functioning collegiate governing body. So it's recognized national title now. It's not recognized by the NCAA per se, but at least that's the level that equestrian is coming up is pretty cool. And we paid that dude a bag because he gave us 20 years for pretty much free. He deserved every penny of that $1 million. And then he comes and signs a phenomenal recruiting class. And so, yeah, is everybody on here going to get super pumped up about equestrian? Maybe not, but we're that good. And Sanchez is that good. And it's amazing. See, there we go. That paper I wrote on equestrian did come to use. So, anyways, all right. You guys are awesome. Logan, hit me up. I know you will. I love you all. God bless. Go Pokes. And for real this time. Yeah. See y'all tomorrow. Latest.